So today we have one heck of a great recipe. We are talking a seriously good Spanish vegetable omelet. This dish hails from the beautiful region of Murcia in southeastern Spain, where it's known as una tortilla murciana de verduras. Now the beauty of this omelet is the way that the vegetables are cooked, as it gives the omelet the most incredible textures and flavors, folks. This recipe is very easy to make, it's made with simple everyday ingredients, and it comes together in just 30 minutes. Let's begin by cracking in 6 cage-free organic eggs into a large bowl. Now to make this recipe, you can use whatever eggs you want, but you know the old saying, the higher the quality of the ingredients, the better the overall flavor of the dish. Then I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of finely chopped parsley, which is 8 grams, half a teaspoon of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is 1.15 grams. You can substitute paprika for half the amount of chili powder to add a spicy kick to this omelet. Then we'll season with a pinch of sea salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll whisk it together until everything's well mixed. For the next step, I'm going to grab a non-stick fry pan. The size of this pan is 10 inches in diameter, which is 25 centimeters, and I'm going to heat it with a medium-high heat. Now the pan that I'm using is specifically made for Spanish omelets, as it comes with another pan that's the exact same size that you clip on top. Then when you have to flip the omelet to cook the other side, it makes it so much easier. You'll find a link where you can get this pan in the description box below. However, you can still cook this omelet in the traditional way. Just use a regular non-stick fry pan, and when it's time to flip it, just add a plate over the pan, flip it, and then slide the tortilla back into the pan. While the pan is heating up, I'm going to cut 6 button mushrooms that have been washed and patted dry into thick slices that are a 1/4 inch thick, which is a little over half a centimeter. Once the mushrooms have been sliced and the pan is nice and hot, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. And at the same time, we'll add in our sliced mushrooms. And we'll mix the mushrooms around, that way they're all coated in that olive oil. Now the olive I'm using for this recipe is from the Georgetown Olive Oil Company. This is a beautiful Spanish olive oil that has such a great flavor to it, and it gives this omelet that beautiful Spanish touch. Link where you can get this olive oil in the description box below. Once all the mushrooms have been coated in the olive oil, I'm going to place them all in a single layer, just the best that you can, and cook them like this without mixing them for exactly 2 minutes. This is such an important step when you're cooking mushrooms. You want to use a medium-high heat, and you don't want to mix them. That way they can release their water, and that water can evaporate out of the pan, and it doesn't stay in there, which makes the mushrooms soggy. After about 2 minutes, I'm going to mix the mushrooms around, and then sear them on the other side for another 2 minutes without mixing the mushrooms. After searing the mushrooms for 2 minutes per side, and they have a beautiful crusty sear, I'm going to remove them from the pan and set them aside. Now using the same pan, let's cook the rest of the vegetables. I'm going to lower the fire to a medium heat. And once again, we'll add in 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is 30 milliliters. At the same time, I'm going to add in 1 medium-sized onion that I roughly chopped, 1 green and 1 red bell pepper that I roughly chopped, and 4 cloves of garlic that I roughly chopped. And as you can see, all the vegetables are cut a little bit bigger than normal. This gives this omelet so much more texture than if you were to finely dice the vegetables. And we'll mix the vegetables around, that way they're all coated in the olive oil, and you don't have to mix this continuously, but do get in there every 1 to 2 minutes, that way the vegetables don't brown too quickly and they all evenly saute. After about 8 minutes and all the vegetables are lightly sauteed, you don't want to brown them too much. I'm going to add in 3 cups of fresh spinach, which is 100 grams. And we'll mix the spinach around with the vegetables, that way it easily wilts. Now the spinach that I'm using is fresh bagged spinach. As you know, I love this stuff because it's inexpensive and already pre-cleaned. But for this recipe, you can also use frozen spinach. Just make sure you fully thaw it out and then you pat it completely dry. Once the spinach is wilted, I'm going to add in the seared mushrooms back into the pan. And we'll season everything with sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll give this one final mix, that way those seasonings are evenly coating all the vegetables. Then I'm going to remove the pan from the heat And we'll drain the vegetables into a sieve with a bowl underneath. This is the most important step in this recipe. By doing this step, we're gonna get rid of all the excess liquid from the vegetables. If you leave that liquid in there, when you flip the omelet, odds are it's gonna fall apart because it's gonna have too much liquid in it. And we'll add our drained vegetables into the bowl with the whisked eggs. And we'll give this a quick mix, that way everything's evenly mixed together, and we'll let it sit here for 5 minutes, that way all the flavors can develop. In the meantime, I'm going to heat the same frying pan with a low-medium heat. Important to use a lower heat here, otherwise your omelet's going to brown too quickly on the outside and not fully cook in the inside. And I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, which is 15 milliliters. This olive oil is not only going to add even more flavor to this omelet, but it's also going to ensure that the eggs don't stick to the pan. And I'm also going to heat the other frying pan that sits on top of the other one with a low-medium heat. That way when we flip the omelet, it goes into a warm pan. After leaving our egg mixture to sit for 5 minutes, I'm going to add it into the pan with the olive oil. And we'll give it a quick mix, that way all the ingredients are evenly spread out and we end up with a single flat layer. After about 2 minutes, I'm going to run a spatula through the outer edges of the omelet just to ensure that the eggs are not sticking to the pan. After a total cooking time of 4 to 5 minutes, it's time to flip the tortilla. Now every pan and stovetop heats differently, so it might take you 4 minutes or even up to 7 minutes. I'm going to grab the other pan that I have heating and hook it on top. And in one swift move, give it a quick flip. And check that out, by using the 2-pan method, look how easy it is to flip this Spanish omelet. For the next step, I'm going to start compacting the tortilla from the outer edges towards the center. This is what gives it that classic rounded edge. After a total cooking time of 9 to 10 minutes, that's 4 to 5 minutes per side, this Spanish omelet should be perfectly cooked. I'm going to remove the pan from the heat and we'll slide it into a serving dish. Check it out, our Spanish vegetable omelet is done. So easy to put together, very simple ingredients and filled with such a beautiful bounty of vegetables. You can serve this for any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, hot or even cold. Either way, the flavors are going to be mind-blowing good. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. Seriously, check that out. Here we go. That is so good. First things first, the vegetables are beautifully cooked. And then those eggs with that paprika, a huge explosion of so many Spanish flavors. You saw this. Easy to make, done in a little over 30 minutes. Like I told you at the beginning, this is a seriously good Spanish vegetable omelet. Really quick before I go, a shout out to a couple of my patrons, David Anthony, Michael Fenter, Catherine Clark, Mavis Robles, and Jean. And guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you'd like to support Spain on a Fork so I can continue to release videos like this, you'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. Leave me a comment below if you're not subscribed. You know what to do. Smash the subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego.